When our best fur friends leave our world, many of us are left wanting one last scritch, one last hug, one last walk together. One Last Network is a space for pet guardians to honor their pets in their senior years and to cope with the days leading up to and after their passing. Here's your host, Angela Schneider, founder of One Last Network and Big White Dog Photography in Spokane, Washington.
You were my favorite hello and my hardest goodbye. Every time I see that meme shared on Facebook, it pinches a corner of my heart. Hi, welcome back to One Last Network in episode 26, The Art of Adding to the Family. The day we bring our puppies home is the day we start preparing to say goodbye. No, we don't live our lives like that. That would suck, wouldn't it? Constantly thinking about the day we have to say goodbye. Instead, we revel in the in-between, the glorious time filled with adventure and snuggles and scritches and laughs and smooches. And then comes the silence, the time after the day we say goodbye, the sorrow, the pain, the grief. You are listening to this podcast because you are an animal lover, and when your beloved companion animal leaves your physical world, you feel lost. You desperately cling to the memories, cry into his pillow, stare at the leash hanging by the door. I know. I did all that. And you wonder, should I get another dog? How soon is too soon? How could I do that to the memory of my beautiful boy? How could I possibly replace him? What you're about to hear is an informal conversation between two women who endured that conversation with themselves. My good friend Darlene Woodward of Panthatown Photography in Georgetown, Massachusetts, and I share our stories about bringing home a puppy after the loves of our lives had to leave us. This is a subject of much debate. Some say wait, others say don't wait. Grief experts say we shouldn't make any life-changing decisions for 6 months to a year after an important loss. 6 months? Or 9 days? Or 4 months? 9 days is my story. 4 months is Darlene's. Have a listen. So my friend Darlene Woodward and I are going to share our personal stories about loss and also about bringing in another companion animal to your home, because it can be a very difficult decision. And right off the top, I want to remind everybody that it is a very personal decision, and there is no right or wrong answer to the question, when should I get another dog? So I'm going to start off by sharing the story of losing Shep and bringing Bella home, because it happened very quickly for me. And Darlene is going to feel free to jump in and ask any questions of me when she feels like it. Even Shep's death happened very quickly. I mean, I can look back at the pictures now and see things that maybe I should have spotted before I was able to get him to a vet who said that dog needs blood work right now. And of course, the next morning, the vet called me and said, your dog is in full organ failure, and his heart is going to explode. He's going to start having seizures. And I said, he already has. And so the doctor said, you need to get him in today and let him go. He probably said, put him down, but I hate that phrase. Instead, I went out into the backyard where Shep was laying. And I said, road trip. And he parked right up. And we got in the car, and I called my fiance, now husband, and said, you need to make an appointment for us. And he immediately went into denial. And I said, no, this is what's happening. You need to make an appointment for us at Pet Vet in Spokane Valley. And I maybe shouldn't have made Shep do that road trip, but I also knew we needed a few more minutes as a family. We got here just in time, driving from Kelowna. Shep had a major seizure in the truck around Grand Coulee Dam in Washington State. And we got here. By the time we got here, he had lost the ability to use his hinds. So we were carrying him. And we spent a few minutes in the living room and then rushed him to the vet clinic and said, I think it was 2:30, and they weren't expecting us until 3:30, but they took one look at him and said, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I wasn't employed at the time. And well, I was waiting for my visa to get approved by Christ, I can't remember what the name of it is now. I spent 2 years of my life embedded with this government agency. It's not DHS, but it's the immigration one. Yeah. There's some C's in it. I wasn't working at the time, so in order for me to be able to collect unemployment, I had to be in Canada. And I had to pay rent. Oh no. So I had to get back to Kelowna and not spend too much time here in Washington. And so we picked up Shep's ashes on Friday. And then on Saturday we drove back to Kelowna. And Shep rode shotgun in the passenger seat. As soon as we walked in the door in my apartment in Kelowna, I sat down on my laptop and I started researching breeders. And I had zero intention. I needed to deal with my grief by looking for another Maremma. I knew that I needed a Maremma in my life because Shep had changed my life so much. So I went looking to get on a wait list for a spring litter. Mm-hmm. Because I also wanted to be able to raise my own puppy. I had rescued Shep at 2 years old. So I missed out on that baby stage.
Oh, we wanted the crazy face.
I mean, I guess that's crazy enough as it is, right?
Right? You're brave.
Yeah. A little crazy to want puppies.
Yeah, right.
One of the breeders, who happened to be the president of the Maremma Sheepdog Club of America, emailed me back right away and said, there are 3 puppies in Arlington, Washington right now. Wow. And I was like, oh no, that is too soon. No. But she had given the breeder my email address. Mm-hmm. And Sharon emailed me that day as well. Saturday was not even over by this point. I had just started emailing when I started getting these emails back. And because it's really difficult to find people who will sell a puppy, a Maremma sheepdog puppy, to a companion home. They're meant to be in the field. They're livestock guardian dogs. So there's a stigma with a lot of breeders around letting these dogs go to companion animals because they do bark a lot. They are very protective of their properties. And because their barking can be uncontrollable at times, a lot of people don't think they're suited to the suburban lifestyle. And a lot of puppies or rescue dogs who aren't in homes with people educated about the breed, they do end up in shelters. And because these dogs are instinctually trained over thousands of years to be free roaming animals, they really don't do well in kennels and crates. So it is very difficult for me to find a breeder who will give me a puppy. But this farm in Arlington, they were down to 3 puppies that they needed to get rid of. How awful.
We know what you meant.
Yeah. To clear the farm out, because you can't have too many LGDs, I suppose, working one farm. I would have 10 if I had the property.
Watch what you wish for.
Right? So I went back and forth like every hour. It was, yes, I want a puppy. No, I can't do that to Shep. Yes, I want a puppy. No, I'm not ready. Yes, this house needs toenails on the hardwood. No, I can't do that. How could I possibly? There's no replacing Shep. He meant so much to me. And my fiance was with me the whole time. And the breeder was going on an extended vacation and needed to get those puppies gone. So she gave me a deadline of Friday.
Wow.
And I was so tortured in my mind over what to do. And I was emailing back and forth with her the whole time going, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, I can't. But, the whole time she was grilling me about whether I was also a suitable person to take one of her puppies. I feel so bad for her now because of what I put her through. I don't feel bad about what I put my husband through. I mean, he's still dealing with it now. He married me. You knew about it. But he sat me down.
Back.
He sat me down that Wednesday. He said, we need to make a decision. And he sat me down and with a piece of paper and split it into 2 and pros and cons.
Oh, you did do pros and cons.
We did pros and cons.
I love it.
And he added his own pros and cons from his perspective of what my life would be like without a dog in it. And of course, the pros list was 5 times longer than the cons list. I mean, the cons list was probably stupid, like too much hair, too much shedding, not ready, replacing Shep. I mean, that's not stupid, but the pros list was so much longer. And so we drove down to Arlington. We set our sights on Miss Red. Okay. She was looking up at the camera in her photo, all sweet and snuggly, and the other 2 were just absolutely defiant looking little bitches. So we were like, yeah, okay, Miss Red. We're going down to get Miss Red, and her name is going to be Bella. And we got down to Arlington. It was raining, and for whatever reason, I wore a dress. I know, weird, right? I wore a dress. So we drove down to Arlington. We stopped at Petco to get Miss Red some new to her items. And by the way, this was 9 days after we let Shep go. 9 days.
Wow.
Quick.
Yes.
I'm saying quick, people. And we stopped at Petco, and then we stopped at McDonald's and had a couple of Big Macs, and then went on to Arlington. And the breeder took the 3 puppies and sat them in a pen, and they were all playing with each other. And this one puppy, a puppy would come over to me every few minutes and just check on me. Every time a puppy would come over, I would check the color of the collar, whether it was yellow, red, or orange. And after about 15 to 20 minutes of this, I realized that there was only one puppy coming over to see me.
Oh.
And it was Miss Orange.
Oh.
So we took Miss Orange home.
Mm-hmm.
And she hated being in the truck. She threw up in my truck.
Oh, great. It's a nice start.
She threw up on my dress. Because I was in the back with her. Well, my fiance was driving. I really think she hated that she got ripped away from her farm.
Mm.
But there she was, Miss Orange, not Miss Red.
Mm-hmm.
And that was come August 29th of this year, will have been 9 years ago.
Wow.
And we struggled.
Yeah.
We really struggled at first. She is every bit as defiant a little bitch as she was in that first photo we saw of her. But I love that about her so much.
Oh.
And now come 9 years later,
Wow.
she is the best friend I ever had. I have no regrets about how quickly we moved to get her. I have no regrets about the early days and how we struggled to connect, because we connect so well now.
Yeah.
And it was only a few years ago that I realized that Shep's last collar was orange.
Oh.
So now you know why everything in my life is orange.
It's orange. So that's the reason for orange.
Yep.
So much meaning in that.
Yep. Yeah. So I believe that Shep recognized it was his time to move on,
Okay.
and that he knew there was a puppy that needed me, or a puppy that I needed.
Yeah.
Because as much as I loved him, as much as I love him, present tense, because he's always with me, I love her 100, 1,000, a million times more, because of who he taught me to be as a human and as a pet guardian. That's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for me?
That's beautiful. Through my tears.
We knew this would get cryy.
Oh, I know. We knew it. Yeah, we knew there would be tears involved.
But the only
So
time
you would do it all over again. It was just that helped you heal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that having Bella around was not just a good distraction, but a good comfort. Once she got used to being inside, and once she learned what a couch was, she was okay. In fact, I have a picture of her watching her first hockey game with me, and it's hilarious.
You mean the couch wasn't for tearing up?
No, I have been one of the most fortunate pet guardians on the planet. In 20 years of being a Maremma mama, I have not lost a single shoe or a piece of furniture.
Stop.
I
No
have
way.
not. I have not. Now, that being said, one night I woke up, one morning I woke up, and the the floor of my spare bedroom in my rental was just a single sheet of vinyl flooring.
Mhm.
However, she did it, she tore a hole in the middle of the floor. So I did
Wow.
lose my damage deposit.
The least of your
That's puppy
worries.
life. Oddly
Wow.
enough, it was the spot where Shep would sleep. So I think his sense,
Really?
yeah,
Oh,
I think his sense was
wow.
there, and she was trying to figure out what it was and where he was, or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, and
She's
she
a
did destroy the carpet in the living room of my now husband's house once we moved here.
She did destroy the carpet?
There's holes in the carpet. We still haven't replaced it because we have dogs. I mean,
You can't replace things as long as you have the dogs. It's, yeah.
um, she would she's a nuzzler, like, I don't know how to describe it, like as if she's a suckler. She suckled, like, and so she suckled on the carpet like as if she was suckling on her mama's teat or something.
Okay.
And so she would pull as she was suckling, she would pull the fibers of the carpet out. So we have bare spot holes in the carpet in a couple of we don't talk about that anymore.
No. Oh, I love that.
So
Did
that all
she?
happened 9 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
Like 9 years.
it's crazy.
And did she do things, and I'm sure she does, that all of a sudden trigger those memories of Shep? Like something, even though they're completely different dogs, she'll do something and you'll just take a double take of, oh, where's
Yeah.
Shep's.
Oh yeah. Well, if you look at her straight on,
Mhm.
she doesn't look anything like Shep. I mean,
Right.
there are so many similarities between all of the big white livestock guardian dogs, and she's often mistaken for a Great Pyrenees, and if they're well-bred dogs, they do conform to certain standards. But her face, when you're looking straight on at her, is so full, and her hair is so voluptuous.
Mm.
And that's such a sexy word, isn't it? And
For the breed.
Shep was I don't know Shep's lineage. He was apparently a breeder's dog, but he also was hypothyroidic, so he didn't have a strong undercoat, and Bella has a strong undercoat. So he was not as puffed out as she is. So looking at them straight on is very different. But as she has grown up, and I only notice this when I'm in the passenger side, when my husband is driving, because I don't get to see her, but I'll turn around and look, and the side view of her when her face is out the window enjoying the fresh air, it's like, who the hell, what the hell is that? No,
Yeah.
it can't be.
Oh.
And then I see him. I see
Mhm.
him. And it's, one of my favorite things was going on road trips with Shep. He would sit right behind me, and his entire face, because they're
Oh.
such big dogs, his entire face would take up my rear view mirror. So I had to get really good at shoulder checks. When Bella was a puppy, and the first few road trips we would take, first I had to get her past the puking stage. But she didn't know how to sit in the truck for road trips. And she would sit in the back corner with her back.
Oh, really? She's giving your back.
And she does it sometimes in the house, and I call her Blair Witch. From that last scene in Blair Witch where the girl is facing the corner, you know?
Yes. Oh my God.
So she would sit in the back of the truck, or she just wouldn't do exactly what I thought she was supposed to do as a dog on a road trip, because Shep had trained me so well. And then one day she got it.
Oh.
Darlene and I pulled over to the side of the road, and I cried so hard.
Oh. Wow.
Because the hardest part of driving home from here with Shep in an urn next to me was not having his face in my rearview mirror. So it took several years for us to get to the point where Bella would fill up my rearview mirror.
Oh.
But now that she does, it just fills my heart with so much joy.
Yeah. I love that. A beautiful story. Oh. Makes road trips much more fun.
Oh my gosh. I cannot imagine going on a road trip without a dog. And we have friends who their dog is the same age as Bella. She's, in fact, a month younger than Bella to the day. And they have said that they are not going to get another dog because they want to go traveling. My husband told them, he said, I don't ever see us being without a dog. And I fell so in love with him that day.
Oh.
Not that I haven't been before.
Right.
But to hear him say that when he wasn't an animal person, I mean, he had had cats when he was younger, but he never imagined himself having a dog or a cat here in this house. And now he is of the mind that we will never be without a dog.
Oh.
We will never be without a Maremma sheepdog.
So you're right for the specific breed there. Always a Maremma.
Yeah, it's this breed has just dug right into my soul, and I have absolute respect for people who rescue. And I've not eliminated the idea of rescuing a Maremma in the future, but it does have to be a Maremma. This is my soul.
Yeah,
It's my soul breed.
Soul breed.
They're so aligned in personality with me, and I just don't know that I could find that in another dog.
Right. Oh, she's beautiful.
So now you're fresh.
Fresh into the world of
skipping. We've been scratching old scabs, picking old wounds here. But you just went through this. Tell your story.
Through the getting the new dog when we didn't want a dog.
Right. And I interviewed you last summer for this podcast, but that was before Coda left. Before you lifted her up.
I know.
Share your story.
We said see you later to Coda.
Yeah.
So Coda, if anyone knows me, knows that she was my soul dog, my heart dog, my everything. And we knew the tears would come quick.
Oh yeah.
For 11 plus years, she changed my world, became a dog trainer because of her. She was a rescue from the South. She was reactive after we were attacked by a dog. So she didn't love other dogs. She was iffy with people. She wasn't a dog who had a lot of bounce back. So she was a challenging dog to have, which is fine. I wouldn't have traded it for anything. So when she got sick, having a dog that doesn't have a lot of bounce back, I think you make different decisions. We didn't want, my husband agreed on, we didn't want to do surgery with her. If she had cancer, we didn't want to do chemo. We didn't want to do all of that. So we went the homeopathic holistic route, which she did very well with. She had an issue with her liver enzymes being through the roof. And for 3 years, we kept her healthy and enjoying life and doing the best we could for her. In the very end, she just took a turn, lost a lot of weight for a dog who normally weighed 68 to 70 pounds. She was 56 pounds when we said goodbye to her.
Breathe.
So,
Breathe.
I know. And anyone who's ever had to make the decision of lifting up their pet knows how challenging it is, because you never know if you're doing it too early or too late. And that's just something that sits with you for so long, because I was tried for the longest time, and I'm fine with this now. I don't think we did it too early, because I don't think you can ever, ever, ever do it too early, because you'll never see your dog suffering and through pain. The day before we had Coda euthanized, she was running around having the best time. We invited friends over the house. She was jumping on them, licking their faces, and the whole time my husband Pete and I were like, oh my God, is it too soon? Are we murderers? Are we doing the wrong thing?
Wow.
And it just makes it so hard to do.
That is a
when
lot.
like that.
That is a lot. You think you're taking the life of your best friend.
Right.
It's so much.
And yeah. And it's not a light decision. It's not something where you just wake up and like, oh, hey, you know what? I think we're going to do it. It's time.
Should I wear the brown socks or the blue socks?
I know. It's no matter what way you look at it, it's not easy. And even our vet, a few days before, we can medicate, and everything was going in one ear and out the other about more medication, and her liver enzymes are high and this and that. And honest to God, it was a Monday night, 3:00 in the morning. We were sleeping. Coda was pacing around the house. I got out of bed. I sat on the floor, and she laid down next to me. And she's not a dog she's a husky mix. She's not like a lovable, huggable dog. She's very space oriented, doesn't love to be touched, didn't like any of that. But I laid on the floor with her, and we slept on the floor together. And that morning, my husband and I both looked at each other, and we said, she's telling us it's time. She's done.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to honor that, because we had that gut feeling that, she might not have been in severe pain, but she had been for weeks pacing at night, stopped eating, ate cat treats. It's like every day. We had a freezer full of chicken, venison, lamb, pork, everything you can think of. And there were days she didn't want any of that. So those signs were enough for us to schedule somebody to come to the house and peacefully say goodbye to her.
Oh man, I wish I'd known about in-home euthanasia 9 years ago.
Right, though, because I can't imagine, I could not have imagined getting her in the car that day. I just can't. Yeah. And I feel for people who do that. I mean, it has to be just, I feel that if your pet can be in their home, in that place, it just makes it so much, it makes it peaceful.
Yeah.
And it's a,
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have come a bit of a way in treating euthanasia
yes.
and having services such as in-home euthanasia, because and no insult to the vet clinics who have very difficult jobs
Exactly.
times, but it does feel very clinical
Mhm.
and not always a most comforting experience.
Right. Right.
Is that the difference that you felt?
Yeah, because I know, people who have had done the vet thing, and they do say it just, and how they say they try. And of course, they're trying the best to make it. But a lot of times people do say, I wish we didn't wait as long where we could have had it in the home. Because a lot of times going right to the vet, it's that very, very end. There's pain, there's a lot involved. It's really that last minute, which does make it harder when you're scheduling the day and the time you're going to say goodbye to your best friend.
Yeah.
It's on the calendar. Like, how?
But it isn't just another meeting on the calendar either. And I think that's what non-pet people don't get.
Right.
It's very traumatic.
It is. It is. To the moment. Yeah. And the hardest thing, Coda having husky in her, having drama queen and sass and all that in that breed. Jennifer, our euthanasia vet, explained the process to me, and she said, well, it rarely happens that you hear a dog make a noise when this goes. She goes, but being a husky, she might scream, and of course she did.
Well, and I remember never
I'm
having
glad I had the
in
heads up.
person.
I was like,
Having that on Zoom. That girl had an opinion.
she does. She wasn't going easy. She was going to go making it known that she was leaving this world, and she's gonna make it known and have a lot to say about it. Oh no.
So what's helping you make it easier to talk about?
Oh, I can now. I just now, there's so many good memories that I cry a lot. I still cry every day, but I laugh too. And yeah,
It was August, right?
yep, August 11th.
Yeah. And so
I'm not a fan of number 11, September 11, August 11. I struggle with 11s for a lot of reasons, but
right. And if you haven't listened to Darlene's interview from the early weeks of this podcast, Darlene lost friends in the September 11th terrorist attacks. And that has been a part of her grief journey for 22 years now. It will be this year.
It's a never ending between that. And Coda stirred up a lot. And then actually speaking with a grief counselor myself, and that helping me heal through everything, which has been so helpful.
Please name your grief counselor, because she is a good friend to this podcast.
Oh, Beth. Of honoring our animals. She's wonderful. Yes.
So
amazing. So now to getting another dog.
Okay, well, hang on a second. There was no plan to bring a dog. You actually fostered another dog almost right away. What was that like?
Yeah. That was, oh, she was wonderful. And that was a dog who she was 7, 8 years old. And in the shelter, just sweet as can be. I thought, perfect dog, easy, not a puppy. I wouldn't have wanted a puppy. So my husband was dead set on we're not getting another dog. We're not. And after Coda, I remember his words. I never want another dog because I never want to have to go through that again.
Ouch.
Because it was hard.
It
was hard. And so we fostered the sweetest dog, and it turned out she was actually very sick, which was heartbreaking. She every morning we had her for 5 days, and I do look back and I say she didn't make it. In the end, they had to euthanize her. So let's add more pain and grief to that.
Yeah.
But for 5 days in the morning, she would just vomit several times. And she ended up over at MSPCA and Angel, and they did their best to help her through her medical issues, but she didn't make it. So that was more grief. Trying to help. Fostering is helpful and wonderful, and I have a little companion, and unfortunately.
I sensed at the time, though, that you weren't getting too attached to her, whether that was because she wasn't the dog for you or because of her health issues. What do you think?
I think it was more, I still wanted to, I didn't want a dog. I still wasn't, I didn't think it was fair to Coda. Like all in the back of my head, and we're not getting another dog. And I kept saying that in the back of my head. And I was treating it like the situation was fostering, not even foster to adopt. Yeah. I think I wasn't coming to terms with it could be a possibility or even open to that.
We did talk about you fostering and how you just occasionally wanted a dog in the house, right?
Yeah, because like you were saying about your friend, oh, we can travel now. Life with a reactive dog for 11 and a half years, I'll be honest, and anyone who can relate out there listening right now, when you have a dog who doesn't get along with dogs, doesn't get along with many people, going anywhere in the world is a challenge. We didn't go places unless we took Coda with us or we went separately. I mean, she really was our world. Everything we did revolved around her. Wouldn't have traded it for anything. But yeah. And then looking at my life for 16 years, I was a flight attendant before Coda, traveled all over the place. It was nothing to pack up and go and have lunch somewhere and fly in a plane. And so we hadn't had that travel. So in a way, my husband and I were like, okay, we're going to have to do some traveling now. We're dog free.
Obligated to travel.
Right. We got to get out and enjoy again. Right. So that was our plan.
Right. And then you fostered again.
Yeah. So.
And now you're stuck.
Right. So come along the beginning of December. My husband was out of town, and I get a text. It was an email from one of the staff members of the MSPCA where I used to teach dog training classes and photograph the adoptable dogs. And the message says, "Hey, Darlene, we have this really sweet husky. I don't know if you're ready yet, but just wanted to let you know." Now they know I'm a husky lover, and huskies, when we talk about breeds, Angela, with challenging breeds, huskies are challenging too. They're escape artists, they're high energy, they're diggers, they're destructive. Yeah, everything. But I love them and can't imagine life without one. So I get the message and I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. So it ended up the shelter was really busy. There was a lot going on. It was crowded. I had heard she's really sweet. And what do? I end up making a trip over there. And they just had just a situation going on in the shelter. And if they could get dogs out for any reason as soon as possible, they would and take any help they need. So I offered to foster, that's the word, foster this husky who the original message said she was 3. Then I find out she's just over a year old, which I do not want a puppy. So I go to pick her up to foster her, and my friend Pat, who volunteers there, goes and gets her, opens the door. We open the back of my vehicle, and she jumps right up, and she's ready to go. So we're going home. So there's no turning back. So now
Y'all got picked. You got picked.
I got picked. Somehow this little hellion appeared who was actually just the sweetest cuddle bunny, completely opposite of what Coda was. You couldn't be more opposite. And I get home and realize my husband's coming home for a trip, and he has no idea there's going to be a dog in the house.
Honey, I'm home.
And he did not speak to me for 5 days.
Oh, no, you didn't tell me that before.
No. And you know what? I get it. And I am a horrible person for it.
Well, if my husband ever listens to this, he'll be surprised by what I'm about to say, but you are supposed to make decisions together, aren't you?
True. No, I did. I was a horrible. It's on me. That was absolutely horrible. You bring a dog home, and my husband's birthday was the next day, and we had dinner plans. But of course, one of my friends came to watch the dog. So I had it all planned on how we were going to work through this in my head. So I get the anger, and I get how we deal with grief differently as humans. And he did not want another dog. I get it. At the same time, my business revolved around a dog. I photograph dogs for a living. My husband travels. He's gone 2 to 4 days a week. He's on the road. I'm home all the time. I was struggling, having a high energy dog. Hoda and I, she was my running partner. We did at least 2 long walks a day. We hiked together. We did so much together that I admit I was lonely.
All that change.
Quiet.
Yeah. All that change is just so hard. Your routine completely disrupted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, definitely. It's so hard.
And let's not lie. Dog people are dog people.
Yes.
When we lose our dogs, we lose a part of ourselves too.
It's so true.
And I think that can only be filled up by having a dog.
Agree.
And that's, I always say that applies to cat people, horse people, goat people.
Yeah.
We default to dogs because we're dog people.
Right.
There's no sense in being without the love and companionship a dog brings us. If that's who we are.
Right. Exactly.
So now, name her.
Halo.
You chose not to change her name.
No, she didn't come with I named her Halo.
Oh, you named her Halo. Oh, I thought she came with Halo.
So I named her Halo because I do believe Coda sent her, because that was my thing. I had a feeling I would know when it was time to get a dog, because somehow Coda would let me know, and Coda let me know. And get this though, her name at the shelter was Connie, and that's my mom's name though. So
okay, that did have to change. There's no way.
Right. I can't exactly. Sorry, Mom, because I know Mom will love me to listen.
We love you, Mom.
Exactly, but we had to change the name. So there's the signal right there. She has a broken leg that healed incorrectly, so she has a little deformity with her leg. And I do honestly believe, yeah. And I'm going to share this little story, Angela, because you're going to love this one when talking about signs.
Oh no.
I know, right? No, but yeah, you're going to like this one. So this literally just happened last week. And my husband had walked Halo for a couple times. So he had walked her a few times. And then he and I were walking her together. So for years, Coda, whenever we turned on to Prescott Lane, our street, she would sit and look up for a treat. Okay. Didn't teach it at all. It was turning on to our street. I sit, I look up, I get a treat. So we're walking Halo. We turn on to Prescott. All of a sudden, he has the leash. She sits, she looks up to him for a treat. And I stopped and I said, did you teach her that? Just like the other day, how to do that? He goes, no. I go, Coda did that for 11 years. Sat in this spot and looked up for a treat. He goes, I know. I'm like, she does it now. And the past few days out walking her, she's doing it every day right when we turn on to our street. And if you tell me that's not a sign, because I didn't teach it to Halo, no one taught it to her. She's not doing it any other time. It's right when we turn. Isn't that crazy?
That is nuts.
Yeah.
How do they know?
I know. There's something. There's a little something. They tell us things and relay messages.
I'm going to make a statement and I want you to react to it.
Okay.
And this is a common statement. You don't get the dog you want. You get the dog you need.
Yeah.
How did you need Halo and how is she fulfilling that need?
So when Halo first came to the house, I want to say she slept for an entire month. She had been pregnant with puppies when they went to spay her. They found out. So she just came broken and slept all the time. But she was a dog who climbed up into my lap. As you saw one day on Zoom, she kind of jumped up and nudges and snuggles and everything that Coda wasn't.
Never. Coda never did.
Never. Coda's like, give me my space. Give me my bubble of space. Get away from me. But she loves attention and she loves closeness. And I feel I needed that. I needed that. Yeah, I needed that. Now, though, that she's decompressed, her nickname is Little Shit, but she's nonstop. So, yeah, I needed another husky because now I have plans to, okay, we're going to ski together. We're going to run together because now I have no choice. I set myself up for that. But I love that. I love that. But that first month she was with us, she was just all about snuggling and being there with us. Yeah.
At a time when you needed it most.
When I needed. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
For sure. Definitely.
And no regrets.
No regrets. Oh, shit. I'm tired.
Not even those 5 days where Pete didn't talk to you.
No, and you know what? When it was God, probably like the night or two after. Oh, when we finally did adopt, it was he wasn't talking to me, and then I was like, "So what should we do?" He's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I go, "Well, I kind of need to let somebody know if we're gonna keep." He goes, "Well, we can't bring her back to the shelter now." Yes, that means I can sign the papers. But I had to laugh because literally, like, again, I had things planned. We had things planned. Puppy wasn't in the picture. and I had friends to take a little art class with my friend Kim. So we went out for the evening, and I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta leave him home. He's like babysitting. Is he okay with it? So I come home late that night. I walk into the bedroom, and there is Pete and Halo snuggled, sound asleep in our bed.
And there was your answer.
And there it is. And he loves her. I mean, he does love her. Yeah.
I can tell you now that I saw a difference in your face between fostering that first girl to fostering Connie/Halo. I saw the difference in your face, and I knew right away that Halo was home.
Oh. Yeah.
I wanted us to share these stories because I wanted to remind our listeners that there is no timeline on grief.
None.
You can hear me getting all worked up after 9 years.
Yep.
B, there is no right or wrong way to do grief. And C, there is no right or wrong timeline for you to bring another pet into your home.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had guests already. Colleen Ellis of Two Heart Pet Loss Center, good friend, doesn't think you should right away. Thinks you should take time to grieve your loss. Maureen Scanlon, a life coach from I Never Knew But My Dog Did podcast, says you should do it right away. So you will hear
so many
different opinions.
Yeah.
And the only opinion that matters is yours.
It's so true. And people who judge will judge. And that doesn't matter because we know they're out there. Oh, you just got to die. And it does not matter because in the end, it only matters to us. And whatever helps us through the process, if it's getting a dog the next day, so be it.
Yeah.
If it's waiting a couple years, nothing wrong with that either.
I have seen people go to the shelter the next day.
Right. Nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with it. You have all of that love to give.
Right. Exactly.
If you need the time and the space to restore yourself, take that time and space.
So
and
true.
If you never have another dog or cat again, that's okay too.
Right.
As long as it's right for you and no one else.
So true.
Thank you.
Thank you
for joining me for this discussion.
Thank you so much.
Look, gang, losing our best fur friends is one of the hardest experiences we have to endure as animal lovers. They are with us faithfully every day of their lives. They love us, they comfort us, they teach us. This pain we feel when they leave us can be overwhelming, and it takes time to heal. Hell's bells, my grief for Shep bubbled up last year in ways that shocked me. I had to deal with the guilt of losing him and bringing Bella home, quote, too soon, end quote, all while walking the grief journey for my mom. And that was 9 years after it happened. For many animal lovers, getting another dog after our soul dog dies can be daunting, horrifying even to some. We wonder how long we should wait or have to wait before bringing another puppy home. Yeah, I lasted 9 days. The opportunity presented itself to love a puppy, and the silence in my apartment was unbearable. Darlene waited a little longer. Others wait even longer, years sometimes. Guys, there is no right or wrong way to do this. Grief is complex. Grief is individual. While it can take time to process the loss of our beloved fur kids, A puppy can bring comfort and joy into a home that needs it. Others may need the time and space to heal without an animal in the home so they can come to terms with the loss. You must do what is right for you and your family with the full understanding that not only is there going to be a big adjustment period for you, but also for your new pet. Whatever decision you do make, know that you are never replacing the pet that meant so much to you, that taught you so much, that loved you so hard and unconditionally. He will always hold a special place in your heart, and his memory will live on in the stories you tell of him and in the love you give to another animal. Because there's always a way to let our hearts grow bigger. Next week, boy do I have a treat for you. We are welcoming our first male guest onto the podcast. A guy! I'm hosting Bob Bryant of Mission Canine Rescue, and we are talking about rehabilitating military dogs who want to live out their senior years with love and cuddles and scritches. I'm Angela Schneider, owner of Big White Dog Photography in Spokane, Washington, and your host at One Last Network, signing off to go get some Bella snuggles. Listen to One Last Network on whichever podcast platform you prefer. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Music, and Amazon Music. Don't forget to hit follow or subscribe so you don't miss an episode. If you have a friend who might be interested in our content, make sure you share us with them. Thanks for listening.